Good morning, welcome to the Hobby Breakfast Show, YouTube's #1 Book of Boba Fett channel. All things Boba Fett here, and
ironically, that might be true.
Yeah, it probably is, isn't it? We're going to be discussing the exciting possibility of Season 2, Book of Boba Fett. You're joined, as always, by the daimyo himself, OT.
I can't remember any Boba Fett catchphrases, so yeah, I'm here.
Old man Boba Fett, Mayor.
Just got out of my Bacta tank.
And the world's #1 Book of Boba Fett fan, with rave reviews, including it was average. It's me, Onod. Yay.
To be honest, I think average is definitely above.
I think that's kind.
Yeah. What do you think is the most generous you could be about?
Are we actually talking about this?
It told it told a new story that nobody expected.
Was it new?
Yeah, it was new in the sense that nobody wanted it. Like,
I don't think that's what new means.
Well, no, as in like
it had new plot lines.
Expanded on Boba Fett.
If you said to somebody, "Oh, you've got a new puppy," my immediate thought is, and that's an unwanted dog that they've got. My.
Yeah, but that says a lot about you.
Well,
that's a very bleak outlook on life.
No. No, I think it says a lot about you that you associate new with unwanted.
No, I never said.
I didn't make that definition.
I think he was going for a technicality.
Yeah.
You know, technically he is correct. Technically it is new.
I'm not sure that OT understands what new means. Mayor, in one sentence or more, if you want to, your most positive thing you could say about the Book of Boba
Fett. Some people got paid, and that equals a standard of living, I suppose.
Yeah, it helped the VFX artists out.
Yeah.
And Disney Plus, they made some money off it. That's good.
Yeah, thank God.
Costume design was good-ish.
I think that would be my. I really appreciated the Sand People lore expansion.
Sand People lore, yeah.
Lizard drugs. They were fun.
It did expand on it a little bit, I suppose.
It did. They cut their branch from a tree and make their
the Mandalorian did a better job though.
Oh my goodness!
No, there were more Sand People costumes in Book of Boba Fett. Although I did think that
we're just now recording a fucking episode on Boba Fett.
Also, we haven't watched Book of Boba Fett for
cut.
A good year and a bit now. Like, this is hazy.
Speak for yourself. I watch it daily.
That's why we're the #1 YouTube channel for Book of Boba Fett content.
We'll be doing our deep.
Boba Fett. We've watched it more times than any other human being.
We'll be doing our deep analysis of episode 1 next week. I look forward to it. Right, should we chat about our secondary interest, Middle-earth strategy battle game?
40k.
Yeah, 40k. Book of Boba Fett Legion. You can only use.
You banned us from talking about Legion.
You can only. I never banned you. It's just we put it on the second channel. That's why I went to talk about it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
I'd play a game of Legion if you only used miniatures which are in Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
I will happily play a game.
I don't think that's possible.
You could have Boba versus Mando.
They're on the same side.
The minimum points level is 500.
In Empire and in Rebels.
I think he misunderstood Book of Boba Fett if you thought they were against each other.
I'll watch it again.
Definitely on the same side.
They have the fish people in Book of Boba Fett. You legitimately could actually, I think, do it.
You can't feel the fish people.
Yeah, the Pikes are in Legion.
Oh, yeah. They're not fish people.
They are fish people.
Yeah, when you say fish people, everyone who actually knows anything about Star Wars immediately thinks about the actual
Whoa, no. Anyone who actually knows anything about Star Wars realizes that there's multiple races of fish people. Anyone who's only ever watched one.
Yeah, so everyone was thinking, what the fuck is he talking about?
No.
No one was thinking Pyke Syndicate when you said that. Comment below if you thought Onod was talking about the Pyke Syndicate.
Shout out to the what do you think are Book of Boba Fett fans? The Bobatrons.
The Bobies.
Shout out to the Bobies in the comments. When I say fish people, do you acknowledge the pikes as a fish people species? And did you, as true Book of Boba Fett fans, immediately know what I was talking about when I said fish people? Tell us in the comments. We look forward to hearing from you. If you'd like to send a mailed response,
messages of hate,
PO Box 301. And send that to Luton Airport.
Okay.
What actually is that?
Fuck knows. Should we talk about hobby?
Sure.
I watched the Book of Boba Fett.
I was going to fucking say that. Damn it. I painted 20 Boba Fetts.
And I mashed them together and made them kiss.
OT, would you like to start us off with how many space crates did you paint this month?
And how many of them did you also lose?
I painted 6 space crates and then immediately left them behind. So now somebody else has my space crates. I've painted some fish people. I painted 8 fish people. And I've also painted 7 rebel commandos. And that's all I've painted this month.
Do you want to talk about them a bit longer, or just that's it?
No, I mean they're painted exactly the same way as I painted the first ones. They were fairly nice to paint. Like the pikes are a pain in the ass because there's like 7 or 8 pieces for each one. You have to stick them all together. Sorry, fish people, not pikes. And it takes forever, and it's not very rewarding. But yeah, I have also, and these will hopefully be coming soon, purchased a bunch of 3D prints to turn into Sons of Earl. I'm quite excited, actually. It's been a while since I've had an MESBG project, so hopefully that will scratch that particular itch.
And by a while, he means like 6 months.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So not.
Hence
not
why I said a while.
That's really
decent length of time. Bearing in mind how much I was churning out last year, like.
Bearing in mind you've only really been doing wargaming seriously for like less than 2 years. You now own like.
I am now very serious about wargaming. To be fair, I am.
Yeah, you're probably now out of the 3 of us the most serious.
You definitely play the most.
Definitely play the most, but then I do have the
paint the most as well.
Not anymore. You paint more than I do.
Well, maybe like on a per month average, but I think in terms of total miniatures, you'd still be ahead.
Really? You think I've got more than you?
You painted like almost 1 a day last year.
True.
You painted more last year than I did last year and the year before combined.
Well, there you go. It turns out I'm a super serious wargamer who. I mean, I'm not going to start. I'm not going to start giving advice on anything wargaming, but
preach. Mayor, you've done quite a bit this month. Do you want to take us through?
I have. I'm saving some of it for next month, but to repay the fact that I did not finish anything last month, I have painted a lot of Star Wars Legion stuff. 3 squads of Stormtroopers, a squad of Scouts, and 3 squads of Death Troopers and Krennic and Boba Fett. I've also finished, as of this weekend, 2 squads of Dark Troopers, 2 squads of Shore Troopers, a squad of B2s, and now I'm working on a bunch of other stuff, so hopefully that will be ready next month. So quite a lot these past few months. I'm definitely ahead of where I wanted to be, which is good, and I'm now going to have to start working on some dwarves for SPG as well, which would be nice. Some Iron Hills.
Why are you painting them?
Well, there's a 700-point SPG tournament in Worcester coming up in a month or so, I believe, run by Law, and we're going to be, or some of us are going to be going down to that, by which I mean only me out of the 3 of us. But that will be quite fun. It's a good v evil, and you need a good and an evil force. So every game you're going to roll and see if you're the good or the evil force. So it might be that you only ever play one faction, which would be interesting.
That's quite a spicy way of doing it, because it'd be a bit of a bummer if you
painted up all the dwarves and then didn't get to use them.
That is true. That would be a bummer.
Isn't it normally more like a kind of it's worked carefully so that you always...
Yeah, but I think because it's a G-Butcher 90, it would force the matchmaking to not necessarily be your closest competitor. So it would like bump every other person, wouldn't it? Or maybe even more than that in the later rounds. So it'd combine the fact that you've really played people with the fact that some people will have played a certain amount of games as good or a certain amount as evil.
Fair enough. I guess this is why you don't see that many good v evil tourneys, because they're probably just a bit of a ball ache to organise, aren't they?
A bit of a faff, yeah.
Good. I'll quickly run through my hobby this month then. So I painted some Warhammer the Old World. I painted a little dwarf Thane who I made out of a miniature I got from Games Workshop, I think in 2011 or 12, and it's just been sat on a sprue. It was like a free sample model. Anyway, I gave him a little weapon swap and made him an oath stone, and there you go. And then I painted 8 dwarf miners that I picked up from eBay just because I like them, and they have candles on their hats, and I like that. Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? It's a good question. Well, OT wouldn't, because he's miserable. Yeah, they were good fun to paint. I think I've more or less scratched my itch for that now, so I don't think they're going to be expanded much more. I maybe will get like 1 or 2 minis extra, but I think that was pretty much me satisfied. I also painted some ships, some tiny ships of various assortments. I don't know how interested our viewers will be. I suspect very uninterested. But for the one person who wants to know what ships they are, I painted some third-rate ships of the line for British ships.
What does third-rate mean?
There were. You see, I appreciate that you're trying to engage in conversation, but I don't actually know whether anyone cares.
I care.
Okay, wow. Well, I might cut this in the edit. So it's to do with how many cannons a ship could hold. So a first-rate ship would be like the HMS Victory, and that would usually have
one.
It could potentially have over 100 cannons.
No.
And a third-rate ship is more in the region of about 60 to 80. But the third-rate ship was considered to be the best sort of battleship. And this is where you actually get the term battleship from, because it was like a ship of the line of battle. So you used to form your ships up into a line, because obviously, because you did a broadside with your cannons, a line was the most effective way to get the most cannons to shoot at your enemy. And then ship of the line of battle got shortened down to battleship.
Oh, that's cool.
So a third rate was the best combination of, it was light enough and quick enough that it had maneuverability, but it had enough cannons that it could still, destroy an opposing ship. Whilst a first rate, although did have a lot of cannons, weren't actually that practical to sail most of the time. Like some of the first rates that like the Spanish were building, for example, were so ridiculously huge with so many cannons that they were basically just like a floating fortress, but they were just shit. And also the Spanish sailors were not very good at firing the cannons, so actually the British third rates usually could fire more cannonballs than this massive Spanish ship that would have like 120 cannons on. Yeah. And then a fifth rate ship is what's normally called a frigate.
Okay.
And we've gone into way too much detail. I can already sense that this will be the point on the YouTube algorithm that everyone clicks off the video. Yeah, sorry about that, subscribers. I do, however, have a little Middle-earth treat to you if you've made it through that fucking painful conversation about cannons. So yes, I'm starting a new project. OT has just blatantly like plagiarized an idea that I had, which is that I'm doing
making a Rohan army.
Well, I wanted to do a Minister of Rohan Army Alliance, and I started doing that. And then a week later, you were like, "Oh, hey, I've just had this idea for Minister of Rohan Alliance," and I was like, "I wonder where that came from." They are very different. I think we should probably stress. So it's very much a case of he changed a few words in his homework. It wasn't complete rip off. Mine is based around the concept of Faramir and Eowyn. So I've painted them up. It's going to be a Fourth Age army. So it's post War of the Ring. It's when Faramir is made Prince of Athelion and obviously marries Eowyn. So it's going to be their kind of like royal guards, I guess. I've painted them in this kind of blue color scheme. I actually got some help from Sebastian to do this because I'm doing the entire army without contrast paint for the most part. The only thing I'm
as in he gave you some advice, or did he do the painting for you?
He gave me some advice. Yeah, they're not quite as good as Sebastian. To be honest, some of Sebastian's more advanced techniques I've not done because I wasn't confident enough / knew that I'd fuck it up. So it's true though. He was like, you should do like an extreme highlight of white. And I was just like, that will make it look shit. I can't do that. It will just end up looking like a white line. It won't look like a highlight. So I haven't done some of those bits and pieces that he was suggesting, but he's helped me quite a lot with sort of getting the right shade for the blue and painting the silver and stuff. So yeah, shout out to Sebastian for helping with that. So the only thing I'm contrasting is the skin, just because I fucking hate painting skin. And a little bit of like some of their hair. So like Eowyn's hair is contrasted just because I think that it does a really good blonde color. But yeah, the vast majority of those miniatures is not going to be contrast, just because I wanted to really kind of push my painting. So yeah, stay tuned for more of that. There'll be lots of Citadel Guard and stuff, and I think a video where we are talking about some of these army lists will be at some point in the future. But anyway, yeah. Jesus Christ, we've been talking for a long time. Should we get on to our main topic then?
Nah.
Fair enough. Yeah, let's just talk about
Canada. Yeah, how many times have you watched Book of Boba Fett this month?
7 times.
You can't remember. Yeah. That's true dedication.
I think we should move on.
Let's get on to our main topic of conversation. So, last week at Comic-Con, Tamara Morrison talked about wanting to have Boba Fett appear in the next season of The Mandalorian. What do we think about that?
You are going to find yourself so funny in the edit. It's not even funny.
I know. As with everything I do, it's purely to make myself laugh. Oh, good. We are doing Heroes of Valour. And we're going to have to pause here so that I can fucking start screen capping. Right, here we are. We have all of the heroes of good in Valour. If you want to see what we thought of the evil heroes, go back and check last month's. And obviously, we've done all of the lower ranked heroes in previous months' videos as well. So feel free to go check through that. We're going to be using our incredibly unique and not at all similar to any other channels that you may watch ranking. Legendary being the best and Whiff being the worst, with then various shades of mediocrity in the middle, going from kind of their almost exactly what we're looking for to they're not complete garbage, but we don't like them. We're mainly going to be discussing kind of their usefulness in game, and we're going to be comparing them against each other. So rather than it being kind of a case of we just think that all of them are good because they're in Valour and putting all of them at the top, it's very much a case of are they good in comparison to the others? And there's a little bit of how good they are in the context of their lists, just to make it arbitrary and easier for us to guff our way through. We're going to start off with Aragorn Strider. Aragorn Strider is in a couple different lists, isn't he? So are we ranking him based on like his best appearance, or
Yes, I think in order to make it most straightforward, we take him where he's strongest and go from there.
I feel like you should get a little bonus point for being able to be used in more than one list, though.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's potentially fair enough. He's probably at his most useful in the Rangers list, or probably actually in Legendary Legions, to be honest. Yeah. What do we think of? Let's just quickly talk about Aragorn without Free Anduril. What do we think of Aragorn without Free Anduril?
Underrated.
Lacks killing power. 3 attack, strength 4 isn't enough for a hero that costs that much, in my opinion.
I think with a horse,
yes.
I would disagree, because he does have Horse Orb with 3 fates.
Yes.
I think without the horse, I'm inclined to agree, having played Aragorn without Anduril or Horse a few times now. He does have a tendency to not do a lot for someone who you want to be doing a lot.
Yep. But I mean, he's a... Nobody else does what he does in game, and I think there is a lot of value in that. And he has such a good array of heroics. Like, it's not like he's got loads of free might and you're not going to be able to utilize it because he doesn't have like march or shoot or whatever. Like, he just has so many heroics that there's always something he can do that is useful, and I think that's really valuable.
Yeah, and in all hero lists, it is nice. Like, for example, when I play him in like Grey Company or Rangers, just being able to call like a heroic march just so that you can get a bit more move and still shoot is very useful. You find yourself doing weird things like heroic accuracies and shoots that you don't normally bother with, just because you're like, well, I'm not going to spend his might realistically on anything else. So that is super useful. Andrew, worth the 40 points?
Almost.
I think it is, only because in a lot of the lists that he is in, having that extra killing power is quite useful. So in Fellowship, you haven't got any Strength 5 heroes. In Return of the King, having... to be fair, it's not as useful in Return of the King, weirdly, even though it's free.
Yeah, and obviously there are 2 lists where he is going to pick this up for free, the Grey Company and Return of the King. And when we did our Legendary Legion chats, I was quite dismissive of this as a bonus, and OT defended it, and I am now radicalized to OT's way of thinking. I do actually think...
Let's not use the word radicalized, eh? Like, there's some bad connotations there.
No, I think radicalized is the appropriate term. Okay. I think that...
I don't see myself as a particularly radicalizing or divisive figure.
I think within the Middle-earth community you are.
Yeah.
I think that getting Anduril for free is actually quite a good bonus.
Yeah. I will say
40 points saved, and it's it's a good thing to have on Aragorn.
It doesn't scale, is the only thing I will say. Like, it's much better at lower points, right? Like, at 400 points, it's better than at 600, just because...
I disagree with you in the Grey Company.
Well, but as in, like, in terms of a percentage of the points you are saving...
I get that, but I think the way you have to look at it with the Grey Company is... 40 points nets you a essentially free Ranger of the North, and then another 10 points towards another one. And by the time you average it out at the big points, you are kind of actually getting a fair bit for that, if that makes sense.
You can better fill in the gaps.
Yeah, and it's sort of like also thinking about if you were going to run just a regular Rangers list, you'd have to make quite a difficult call between, do I pay the 5 points to get a Ranger North of D5, or do I pay 25 to get a Dunedain? And this almost kind of like streamlines that decision, because it's like, I've got 40 points, so I can effectively, if you think of it in this way, upgrade 8 Rangers of Dunedain into Rangers of the North for free. That's like kind of how I think of the savings. And I think that in a lists like that is quite useful.
Mhm.
Where are we?
There are 39 heroes on this list.
Yeah, but Aragorn's a special case.
I think he goes in legendary because I think at his best in the legions he slots into, he is very, very powerful, and I think he is always going to be a useful and fun hero to use on the board.
I agree.
Yeah, and you're not always going to get 200 points out of him, but you are always going to get something from him. Yeah. Cool.
I think he'll be towards the bottom of legendary for the record, but I think he is very, very good.
Boromir, just regular boy in Fellowship. Should we assume that we're not like allying for the purposes of this? That we're like talking about him in the context of the Fellowship list rather than saying you can bolt him onto Rivendell. Yeah.
I mean, can do. I think he is probably maybe at his best in that alliance. I mean, he's very, very, very powerful, but also very, very, very weak. And a bit like, Iron Guard in Khazad-dûm, he is always
glass cannon.
He is always going to be your first. Maybe something like well, actually, he's more survivable than Theodred, arguably. Anyway, like that's that kind of hero, right? Like, but if he can get into combat, he normally has the might to win 2 combats in a row, kind of automatically, unless you fuck up the strike. And similar to like what the White Tower one does, if you really need like a hero just wiped off the board or a model wiped off the board, he is the guy for that. Also worth noting, he has March, which is super useful for a hero with lots of might.
Yes, and obviously the Horn of Gondor is a nice little upgrade. Don't forget that.
Yeah,
when it comes into effect.
110 on horse. Like, in terms of possible power, I don't think there's another model that like rivals him in the game for like the amount of power you get for that points.
I think for the amount of might you get for the points, I'd agree with you. I'm not sure in terms of raw power that he's quite that good, but yeah,
and maybe Thorin on Thorin on goat's like 125. Yeah. Anyway, he's very good.
I don't think he's quite legendary though.
No, too flimsy. I'd put him like lower end of fantastic. I think like there are going to be games where he goes off and he does really, really well, but there are also going to be games where he's dead before you get to combat. And I mean, like in our Fellowship versus Thorin's, he died like what was it, like turn 3, turn 4 or something, with like 4 might left.
Yeah. Although that's quite an unusual battle, but yeah.
Let's not use that as a case study.
Better Boromir then, and I think a fairly easy placement. Why is he in legendary then, Mare? What do we like about him?
His banner is fucking great. +1 fight for all of your little Gondor dudes is pretty fabulous. And himself, so he becomes what, 5'6", 5'7"?
5'7".
5'7", fucking 5'7", the magic number. Better than elves. Or a lot of elves. Yeah, he's just really good, and he's points effective. He's got all the might. He's got more than 1 fate, right?
Yeah, he's got 3 fate.
Fucking 3 fate on all your might. Whereas the other Boromir, he's going to get targeted. So he shores up all the weaknesses, basically.
This model is the reason why Minas Tirith is still competitive, right?
Not the only reason, but it's one.
Not the only reason.
One of the things that makes it like, and this is just a very, very powerful model, right? And also, like, if you want to, for whatever reason, you don't have to give him the banner. Just put him lance, horse, shield.
That's insane, though. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, but you do save points. Like,
I'm not in that camp of thinking.
Okay, it depends. But like, if you just want a hero that can go around killing stuff, he can also fulfill that role. But yes, I think you should give him the banner, and he's very good.
And he still has the fucking horn, because why not?
Yeah. And it's 6-inch banner as well, so you can hide him behind a shield wall and protect him from shooting and all that crap. Like, yeah, it's very good.
Very strong. Up in legendary, above Strider, I think. Legolas,
Fellowship.
the machine gun that is Fellowship Legolas. He's
I think
good.
he's really strong. I get him a 2-up. I think he's going to be put in legendary as well. Weirdly, the amount of lists that he can contribute to, the fact that in Return of the King he's your only bow, but he's also the only bow you need to make your opponent come to you. I mean, OT, when you used him in the most recent tournament, you just used him to hide behind a tree with his cloak and blink at the opponent as your more or less only like really aggressive.
He had Haldir too. Let's
Yeah.
not big Legolas up too much.
But when your opponent's hiding behind buildings and making people prone, like they were,
I mean,
still
he's so useful. Like in this game, being able to just say, "I want to hit your horse," and I just do it on a 2-up, and then I kill it on like a 5. Like there's nothing else in the game that really allows you to be so like decisive.
Yeah, well, he's unblockable magic, right? Like he behaves a lot more like, I'd say, a caster than he does an archer, because he is just so different. And it's the fact that like you just have to be able to see like the tiniest part of the model, and then they're under threat. And for also like lower defense heroes, like Saladin's around a lot, you're gonna be wounding him on 5s, even if he's hidden behind a bunch of dudes. Like it's just very scary, and I think people maybe sometimes overestimate how much damage he'll end up doing, but it is still like a scary thing to deal with.
He's the only good model that can shoot into combat as well, and that gives you something which you can't get otherwise. It's crazy to think that this is a nerfed version of Legolas, that in past editions he used to hit without rolling.
Yeah.
That is insane. I'm inclined to put in legendary. I don't know if I'd put him above Strider, though. He's probably more useful across a broad range of lists.
I would put him top end of fantastic rather than legendary. But
do you think?
I think he is just a bit expensive, and he can struggle a bit in melee. Like, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a bit harsh. I think also another thing is the synergy with Gimli is just so good, because he's normally going to kill a couple of models before you reach combat, and then Gimli's running around +1 to wound, stuff like that. So I think either top end of fantastic or legendary is really good. But yeah, I don't know. He maybe just isn't on the same power. I think he's closer to Fellowship Boromir than he is to Strider and Gondor Boromir.
I think he just does something the others don't, though.
Yeah, that's true.
I almost
you have to pay a premium.
I almost want to like take your magician analogy and be like, he's like kind of, I don't know, he's like an assassin, isn't he? Like,
yeah.
May you can decide. Bottom of legendary or top of fantastic?
Bottom of legendaries for now. I think looking at the other, I think we put the sort of.
We'll reassess if legendary becomes too full. Gimli, he is Legolas's pal. So as we've alluded to, they have a little rule which everyone always forgets to bother keeping track of, or at least we always do.
And then you just guess how many you've killed.
Yeah, it's like our game in that tournament where we were like, well, we know Legolas has definitely killed 1, so we'll just go from there. Yeah, he's pretty good, isn't he?
Underrated for me. I think he does more than people give him credit for.
I think
he's so consistent.
I think he's just rated. I wouldn't say he's underrated.
And because he's got nothing that's like particularly special. He's just really solid stat wise, whereas a lot of other Fellowship members have like some kind of quirk, and he's just there being fucking solid.
Maybe he's overlooked, but I don't know if he's underrated.
Yeah, maybe he's overlooked. I think he's really good, but people tend to not take him as much as, like in Return of the King, everyone takes Legolas over Gimli if they need the extra warband space. Obviously, in that list, it makes more sense because of the shooting, and you've already got a melee presence. But and in Fellowship, you've got Aragorn and Boromir that overshadow him. You're not allowed to take him in Dwarf lists.
You can take him in Moria.
Oh, can you? Okay. Well, there you go.
With Balin.
He's absolutely shining in Moria then.
But you kind of have to pay the Balin tax. So
Balin tax, and you don't get his rule.
Yeah,
because you don't have
the Legolas rule.
So.
I feel like he's fantastic, and I'd personally put him under Boromir.
Lower end of fantastic, I think, isn't he? I think that's fine.
Yep.
Gandalf the Blue.
I think this is because it's Valour. This is in Shire.
Correct.
I think he's legend in Fellowship.
Correct. Yeah, he's in Valour and Shire. Legendary.
Hero options in Shire. He's really up there.
Yeah, for Shire, he's easily your best hero. He does, of course, come with the fact that he is going to lock you out of certain hero combinations. But I think if you're gonna try and win with Shire, you've either got to go quite hard into the Legendary Legion and just really know your stuff and just hope that the scenario goes your way, or you've got to look for alternatives. And I think Gandalf is an option, not necessarily a good one, but he gives you more stuff.
Having used this with Fellowship, I can tell you it does not help.
Yeah, but your list was not
even more garbage.
Not trying to be good with Shire, was it? It was deliberately.
No, but the issue is a lot of wizards allow their army to do work and to delay threats, which he did, but not enough. And I just don't think he's very good in Shire.
He's definitely better with a big hero because you get more use out of him. But don't forget, you're not prevented from allying. Like, you can take him in Shire and Rangers.
Yes.
So you are free to take him in Aragorn with a load of hobbits.
I just don't think hobbits are very good. And so it makes me feel like...
I feel like that is potentially an okay way to play Shire.
Could you just put Gandalf in and then take Rangers?
Yes.
Yeah, but you aren't Rangers green with Fellowship anyway.
I think they might be yellow.
Well, yeah, okay. It's a way of taking Gandalf with Rangers. I don't know if you necessarily want to do that, but you could.
You could, technically. I think he is in average because I think he's very expensive and I think his magic is not that good.
I'm inclined to agree.
Even in the context of the Shire list? Doesn't just sneak him into solid?
Like, in the Shire list, he is a very good hero, but the Shire list is bad. So it depends how we're viewing that. Like, it makes the Shire list a lot better, I agree, but also the Shire list that he makes better would still be not very good.
Yeah. Okay, we'll put him in average, but he does do stuff. I think it's important to say. Like, there's definitely something that could be done with this. It's just not going to be easy.
No, or particularly competitive.
Merry Captain of the Shire, then. I mean, if you are not taking Gandalf, this is an auto take for Shire.
Yeah.
Like, you have to take Merry. If you're taking the Legendary Legion, you're required to take him, but you want him because he is good.
Yeah, I mean, he's Warhorn, and does he get something else? Or he upgrades the Battling Brandybucks, isn't it, for the Strength 3 or whatever, which is nice.
Yeah, so you can take Battling Brandybucks, which is definitely useful to get Strength 3, and then with axes you can pierce up Strength 4, which on hobbits is kind of insane.
Try hard.
You still got the problem that you've got to win the fight. But
But you're playing Shire, so
it is the most killy Shire can be. So
Yeah.
sprinkling a few in is definitely worth it.
I don't have the book. How is he? 40 points?
He's 45 base.
Okay. And you can take his shield. Does he come with that base?
You can take a shield for 5 points. You can take a pony for 5
Sweet.
points. You can take an elven cloak for 5 points.
Don't do
I don't think most people bother with the elven cloak.
No.
I guess there's something to be said for it if you're really keen on keeping him alive. But to be honest, you either just whack him with a shield, or if you think you need the maneuverability, you give him the pony too. He is mainly there to buff. He has March, which is useful. He has Strike, which is situationally maybe useful.
Problem is when your fight 3 base, you need to be rolling very hot on the Strike for it to be particularly worthwhile.
I mean, the main reason you take him is for the courage buff, because it just really helps. So I would say in the context of the list, I would maybe go so far as to say that he's in solid.
Yeah, lower end of solid. Yeah. Especially with the Legion.
Yeah, now we have Pippin, captain of the Shire. He is exactly the same as Merry, but rather than having the Brandy Buck upgrades, he has the Archer Tookish Hunters upgrades. And rather than having the Horn, he has a rule which allows him to reroll failed wound rolls against monsters and heroes, which is
much less good.
Well, it is much less good. The one thing I will say for Pippin is that this might be the most killy hobbit.
What about Samwise?
Yeah, I
think direct combat.
I think against monsters and heroes, Pippin is probably slightly better, right? I definitely agree. Killing chaff, Sam is better.
Yeah, killing chaff.
Yeah, killing chaff.
You mean Mortal Kombat against an Orc warrior is actually what you're saying there? Fucking
Nah, Sam's got lots of fate points. He could go a few rounds.
He could survive losing 2 rounds to then get his combat off.
Yeah, the Tookish Hunters upgrade is much less useful than Battling Brandy Bucks. Whilst getting them up to fight 3 is not terrible, you are then paying quite a lot of points for a Hobbit Archer. And fight 3 is obviously not as good.
Not that good.
As most armies nowadays will have fight 4, fight 5 that you come up against. Like, not every army, obviously. Obviously, that's quite a competitive spin on things. Like, if you're going to be playing normal games, I think that Turkish Hunters are fine. I think if you're trying to take this to GPHO 100, don't take them.
Yeah.
But you're already going to lose. You're already going to lose, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, just don't take hobbits. I think he's in average below Gandalf.
Yeah. Bandibus.
He has horse access, which
Yeah.
makes him, along with Pippin, the most killy hobbit because he can knock down. You can take him with Gandalf, which I think is, you know,
a thing
worth acknowledging him. But then you can't take any other hobbit hero.
Yeah.
So it's him, Gandalf, and Dunedain. So actually, you don't get that many heroes playing it this way. You don't get that many warriors playing it this way, which is not necessarily the Hobbit's strength.
Wrong point.
I think at very small points, and I mean very small, maybe he does something.
Yeah, like 300 or below, maybe. But I think just because he is so limiting and he doesn't give you that much, I would put him in average, probably around Gandalf. Well, maybe below Gandalf.
I think he's below Gandalf, above Pippin, isn't he?
Yeah. Arathorn.
I don't. Yeah, he's going to be an interesting one to place because he's not complete shit. And for his points, he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
but he's also not great.
It's that D5, 2 wounds, 1 fate. Like, that's one decent round of shooting, and he's gone.
Yeah, it's a shame you can't get him like an Elven Cloak or something, really. He really needs it.
Because it would be a rangery thing to have Stalk Unseen as well, right? Like, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, but I guess maybe it'd be a bit strong if you could take all shooting with Elven Cloaks, although there is now an army that does that. But anyway, is Whiff too harsh?
Yes.
Yeah, probably is. I think he's average.
I think he's top of average based on the others.
I don't even know that I'd put him above Gandalf, to be honest.
I think just because he is only 75 points, he is cheap. And he's got strike.
Yeah.
And he's
But
got
you can't take him with Aragorn.
Yeah, it's true. But
So
at low points, if you want to run Rangers,
at very low points,
fine.
yeah, he's fine. Yeah,
just
go on
below
then.
Gandalf. I'm putting just below Gandalf, but yeah, I think he's on that kind of level.
Isildur. Why is he legendary?
Because he's the best ring bearer in the game after Sauron.
Because he's fight 6, isn't he?
Yeah.
Correct. So when he has the ring on, can never be
Beaten in combat.
Never be
unless he rolls shit.
Strength 5, D7, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 5 or 6, and I think he actually gets 2 fate. I think he also has strike, which is kind of funny.
Just in case he loses the ring.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I think you laugh, but I think strike's useful because you're not going to want to wear the ring all the time, and he will have to dismount to wear the ring. So, yeah. Resistant to magic, fucking great on a ring bearer.
Yeah,
because it just helps to nullify one of the weaknesses he'll have to ring race.
Yep.
Code 6. I mean D7.
It's so fucking good.
And he can take his shield, like
yeah.
Honestly, he
is fucking crazy.
I think just in terms of like a pure, you need a guy to either just like keep another hero locked in combat for an entire game and not doing anything, or you just need to kill something. He's one of the best things in the game.
What strength is he?
5.
What?
Yeah, he's big boy 5 because he's
strength 5 man. Fuck off. Yeah. That's so good.
He's Numenor.
Yeah, that Numenorean strength. In terms of power level, I've put him below Boromir and above Aragorn.
I feel like I'd put him at the top.
Is he better than Boromir? I mean, in a one-on-one fight, it would be...
Boromir just does so much for your army.
Yeah, I agree. Boromir does more for the army, I think.
Just because he's got more might.
Well, but his banner, right? Like, he makes everything plus one. Like, he gives you access to fight 5 in Minas Tirith.
Yeah, below Boromir.
Yeah. But as a one-on-one combat hero, unreal. Like,
I mean, you are getting the resistant to magic buff for your troops with Isildur, but I don't think it's quite as good as re-rolling and
way more situational than the +1 fight, and like the fact Boromir makes himself +1 fight as well is a thing.
Doesn't have a ring though. He wants one. He doesn't have one.
He tried to take it.
Gandalf the White.
Here we go.
Top of legendary.
Whiff.
Best good model in the game. I mean, what is there to say about him other than good things? First of all, he's the only wizard in the game that you can reliably have kill a single warrior in a turn of combat, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
He's got a good range of spells available to him, and he's good at casting them. He's fairly tricky to kill. He's available in a variety of mediocre lists, and he is, compared to other heroes in said lists, quite good. He has access to a cool horse. I think top legendary, guys.
I think he is next to.
Sorry, you cut out there. What did you say?
Good, hilarious. I think he is next.
You think he's in Fantastic?
Top of Fantastic. Just, if you are paying 240 points for a model, it has to win you the fucking game. And he doesn't. He doesn't. And if you are charging him into combat, you are a fucking moron. Like,
I'm inclined to agree.
so, like, this idea that he's a combat hero. He's got 2 attacks. Like, it's oh god, infuriating.
Yeah, so unfortunately, all the audio got corrupted for that bit. But we've agreed that he's bottom of Fantastic, and we're going to move on to Denethor. What do we think of Denethor?
Top of Fantastic.
I think unironically,
he's really good.
There are good conversations to have about Denethor, especially if you're in an army with Boromir.
Yeah.
He is actually quite good, yeah.
And you can put Huron in to take away the downside of his leader VP thing. Like, yeah. Like him, Boromir, and Huron in an army.
It is a strong combination of big points.
Like, yeah, crazy.
Is it unfair to put him in Fantastic though when you have to take 300 points of other heroes to make him okay?
I think just because he's Valour for 35 points, like.
Yes, no, I do see where you're coming from, but I'm like just trying to say like, but you're paying a lot of points to make that worth it, right?
Yeah, it's true because he is cheap but requires expensive stuff to work. Okay, but
realistically, Valor's only 3 more warriors than Fortitude. It's not like you're getting a legendary hero. Then it would be insane. I think top is solid personally.
Solid. Yeah, no.
Faramir, our sweet prince. Poor Faramir. He just needs a special rule. He just needs
a cool special rule that makes Rangers. That makes Osgiliath veterans better, and then we would be talking.
I mean, he does technically have that because they get +1 fight.
Yeah, it makes them nearly usable rather than good.
If anything, I think it's more of a conversation of if Osgiliath veterans had shield wall, then Faramir would have potentially a useful special rule, but they don't. So
I think it should be shield wall, and they treat or like they treat them as a banner or something. Although that would already work with Boromir. I think Faramir is the definition of a solid hero. He is not bad, and he is not exceptional. He is just solid.
He's worth taking compared to an unnamed captain because he has more might and better stats. But and he is not
not bad.
But he is not worth taking when you look at other people in his list that we will talk about later.
Yep.
Bottom is solid, I'm going to put him.
Yeah. And also, I think Gondor heroes become worse because they have such good... Well, they have Boromir and Huron, essentially. They have really good hero options, and that makes it harder to justify taking other heroes.
Yeah. Forlong the Fat.
Big man.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Can do some fucking damage.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Beefy.
Yeah, he's decent.
He's OG Bomber.
Yeah, but better. And I preferred him in the movies too.
Yeah, same.
I mean, he's got a Warhorn, he's got a War Spear, stick him on a horse for 90 points, Strength 5, Fight 5, D6. 3 wounds.
That is value right there.
Courage 4 is a bit of an oof, but
yeah,
I guess he warhorns himself, so goes to Courage 5, which is quite good.
Yeah, you've got to really treat it as Courage 5, don't you? Because you're never not going to have that warhorn on the field.
Yeah, I think,
and a Courage 5 hero is respectable. So
yeah. I'm debating top end of solid, bottom end of fantastic. I think he's just good value and fits. I mean, if you're taking a fiefdom's force, you're taking him. I think
he's got to be in fantastic, right? He's a cut above Denethor.
Yeah. Angbor.
I don't rate Angbor.
No. Fearless
angle.
Bubble is cool, and remember, it will spread if you keep green. It will spread to all of your troops, which is nice. So they're like better Wildmen of Dunland.
Hooray!
That's not saying much.
Yeah, I'm standing by that.
I mean, the two-handed thing where you roll a 6 is quite nice because it's kind of like the most clutch element of Burley. But then, like, imagine how many one-on-one combats you're going to lose because your opponent rolled a 4 and you rolled a 4. It's like you don't always need it to just be a 6. So it is just flat out less useful than Burley.
He's got strike, and assuming you're bringing Imrahil, which I think is debatable sometimes in fiefdoms because he's a bit expensive, like having 3 goes at rolling a 6 is kind of okay. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting special rule, and it will make him quite killy as well. Like that strength 4 +1 to wound would be quite nice, and he is cheap.
Yeah,
65 points. Like that's not bad.
I think there's a case to take him, but he's not as good as Forlong.
Yeah, I think he's lower end of solid, above Merry.
The one whose name I can't remember.
Dunahir, whatever.
I really don't like him.
No, his rules don't really make any sense, and although there are some monsters that you'll see on the table, it's too niche a rule, I think, to make work, and his special rule only goes off when you're calling heroic shoots, which is twice. So yeah.
He's probably whiff for me.
Oh,
I think the only reason that keeps him out is purely because he's Valour.
Yes, true.
But I think that if we say that about all of them, we don't put any of them in whiff. So I think you've just got to base it on the others. And I think that for me, he's the first one we've come across where I can legitimately kind of say there's no real reason I'd ever include him in my list. He has one rule that I think's fine. But it's affecting strength 2 bows. So realistically, I mean, how much difference does that actually make? Maybe you get 1 extra kill in a game. Yeah, it's not worth it.
And for 60 points without much utility, like it's not like Mad Drill or some of those Ranger heroes where they can.
It's not even like he has 3 might points. He has 2 might points.
I think, like, in fiefdoms, you'd be taking all the other heroes and probably a captain before you even thought about
for sure. No, captain with Lance over this guy every day of the week.
Yep, I'm happy with.
Mayor, any final words, or are you happy with?
No, he's a whiff boy.
Stinky boy. Right. King of the Dead. He is very good, but he does definitely have...
one might.
Downsides. Yes, that is his downside. Which
with the heralds, you can mitigate it a little bit. Like,
yeah, but they're quite expensive to do that, aren't they?
And in Return of the King, it's less relevant because you have Aragorn and Leggy probably knocking around to spend some might. So, yeah, I don't know. He's tough. He's brave, and he enables you to, I guess, get the army going. So, yeah, I don't know.
I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I think he's still definitely up there. He's just not quite in that top echelon. Is he above Forlong?
Yeah.
Is he above Gimli?
The fact that he's got Harbinger as well is really, really
true.
Nice. I'd say he's above Gimli for me. Gimli's solid, yes, but the King of the Dead offers something that nothing else in the game offers apart from Dead of Dunharrow. He's just exceptional against evil armies. He's cool. His rule is very, very interesting. Yeah. I'd say he's above Gimli.
Okay, he's around Gimli. Arvedui. He's kind of got Arathorn vibes, but in a list which needs him. So
Stand Fast is cool, and Malbeth makes him more survivable.
Yeah, but he's only good because of the list currently.
Yes,
I'm willing to bet that he will be less good in about 6 months
when the cooler heroes come out who can take horses.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I imagine that we're probably not going to bother revising this list, but
No.
I think come back to this and reconsider when that book comes out. He's probably around Denethor just because he's useful because he's Valour, right? Like he's better than Denethor, but he's more points, so it averages out.
He's 100 points for 2 wounds, 1 fate.
But in Arnor, his rule is just.
He's not 100, is he?
Oh, sorry, 80. My bad. Sorry, I've reading the wrong one.
I was going to say that was way too high.
But I mean, like the reason Arnor is good is not because of him; it's because you have good cheap warriors in Malbeth, right?
Yeah.
Well, the standfast is super important because they're solo courage.
Yeah.
But you are right. The reason why Arnor is what it is because of the warriors and because of Malbeth, and then this guy is just useful to have above a captain.
I'm putting him above Merry and below Angbor.
I'm putting him above Angbor. He's better than Angbor.
I was definitely getting confused between him and Malbeth.
Theodred. We like Theodred, don't we?
He's like Boromir. Yeah, has to charge. Rerolls wounds on the charge. Throwing spears, horse. 2 wounds, 1 fate. Send it. Like, his Legendary Legion's pretty good.
In the Legendary Legion, he is very good at certain points. I think in that kind of like low to mid where
500.
The Legendary Legion and the sort of Rohan cavalry infantry split can really thrive. I think that he can do work.
Grimbold Elfhelm at like 4 to 600 or whatever is good, and like he's a hero killer if he I mean he's only fight 5, I guess, which is increasingly maybe not good enough.
He's got the strike though. Yeah, I'm feeling like around Forlong the Fat and Gimli.
I'd put him above King of the Dead.
I wouldn't go that far.
I guess it's the King of the Dead is very consistent and will die a lot less. Yeah, maybe
he is going to be your army leader, remember?
Yeah, and he has to charge, which is a pain in the ass. Yeah, okay, above Gimli but below King of the Dead.
I'm personally putting him below Gimli, but
you do you.
You heard it here first that OT disagreed.
Yeah.
Aomer, slightly too expensive. He's kind of meh. He's simultaneously good, but also underwhelming somehow.
There's just too many fucking heroes in Rohan, and they get saturated.
He was probably very good before Gondor at War and War in Rohan came out, and now he just kind of looks a bit kind of like, well, I could take Aomer, or I could take all of these cheaper heroes who do more or less the same thing.
I think Aomer's niche in Rohan is that he's actually going to survive losing a combat, which a lot of them maybe wouldn't against the hero.
And he's a lot more likely to still have his horse by the time he gets into combat.
Yeah. And I think he struggles because Rohan it has so many really good hero choices, but I think he is still good. I think I'd probably put him top of solid. But if he was maybe in like if he was in like, I don't know, fiefdoms or something, like he would be very good, but he does just suffer because Rohan's so competitive.
Yeah, and his Legendary Legion didn't really get enough to make him a Theodred case where he kind of gets a buff almost. Yeah. So I think top of solid is fair for Aomer.
Yeah. Earl the Young.
You can talk about this one, OT, as he's your new boy.
One of the best value heroes in the game, and I will not back down from that statement. the problem is he imposes so many list building restrictions that, like, the problem is in order to take Earl, you have to be like, I don't want any of the other cool heroes, and I think that's quite difficult to justify. I mean, he's better than Aomer, but he does have to like kind of do it all by himself, right? Apart from the Sons of Earl, who get a really good buff from being with him. I think he feels like he just needs a little something extra to make him worthwhile running it in a like very competitive way. I know people have taken like him competitively and done very well, but I think they must be very good at the game, because I think it will be a very hard list to get good use out of. But he is cool, and the 12-inch move horse with 3 attacks going up to strength 5 on the charge is definitely a thing. So yeah, I think he's good. I think bottom end of fantastic, just because he is so limiting in what you can take him with.
He is a bit of a B-Tech Helm Hammerhead, though, isn't he?
Yes, but he's also much cheaper.
Wow.
Helm is 175, 180.
Yeah.
He's 115. That's like 3 extra Sons of 3 and a bit extra Sons of Earl. Like, although Helm is an example of a hero who can actually do it all himself. To be fair,
I think Helm has enough though that you would argue that it's worth paying the extra.
Yeah. I mean, Helm is a more competitive model than Earl, but I like Earl.
Yeah, fair. What are we saying then? Mayor, you can decide where he goes based on OTs, and you can be the unbiased opinion. Earl the Young.
Earl the Young.
He was clearly listening intently.
I fell asleep as soon as you said Earl the Young. No, he's gonna go in fantastic, I reckon.
There we go. So it wasn't just OT's bias. We'll put him bottom end of fantastic.
Yeah.
Gunbury Gan.
Ganbury Gan. Do you want me to read his stats?
Yeah, just put him in whiff.
Do you want me to read his stats, or we not bother him?
Yeah, read his stats.
Shit.
Fight 4, strength 4, D4, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 4, 3/1/1, dagger, spear, blowpipe. Gets hatred, goblin, orc, urukai, stalk unseen, woodland creature. He's got accuracy and march. There is that weird legendary legion as well in Rohan, isn't there? Which is a bit shit. That's kind of all he does. He lets you take Woses. I think for 65 points for those stats, like his stats are equivalent to like a hunter orc in combat, basically, which is shit. So
I'm sure somebody in the comments is going to explain why there is a reason for him to exist, but I can't be bothered to think about it. So I'm going to
do like the Legendary Legion. I will say that I think it's a cool idea. I just think I wouldn't run it, and the model's been out of production forever. So
yeah.
Oof.
I'll put him above the other guy though. There you go.
Yep.
Glorfindel, he's good.
He's part of the fucking trifecta of Rivendell. Which one's the best? He's the cheapest, and he's not the toughest, probably, but he is definitely up there in terms of toughness. Fight 7 is very good. Fight 7 and Elven Blade is really good because it means even if they've got, if you come against, like, I was going to say Gondor then, but Boromir's Fight 7. If you come against some other elf heroes or something, often the Fight 7 will get it done. He has Lord of the West, which lets you be effective with a banner reroll and a reroll to wound. Asphaleth's really nice, 12-inch move, and gives you Fleetfoot, so you can just go straight through woodland on your horse, which is very strong. And
he has Horse Lord.
Because, as we've said before, the most common terrain you're going to see on boards is woodland, and if you can maneuver through there at full speed going 12 inches, it gives you a lot of options that you wouldn't otherwise have. He also counts as having Fortified Spirit, so basically like super resistant to magic. So yeah, he's just very difficult to slow down.
Don't forget his terror.
Yeah.
Which is useful for preventing counter charges potentially.
Yeah. His heroics are slightly meh. Like he's got resolve, which you're never really going to need. He does have strike, which I guess is nice. Strength and challenge are a bit meh, but yeah.
Resolve is interesting on a character who already has so
I
much
want to know the
anti-magic,
one person who's used resolve on Glorfindel to make sure that
I've never seen someone use resolve.
Yeah, there's no reason. I think he goes middle of fantastic next to Gimli.
Ooh, I think you're doing it dirty there. I think he's better than that.
He is 170 points full kit.
Yeah, but he's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's at least got to be better than basic Boromir.
Basic Boromir is so cheap, though.
Yeah, but
like Glorfindel will be 60 points more than Boromir.
For 60 points, I'm getting a fight point. I'm getting a defense point.
Yeah.
I'm getting 3 fates. I'm getting higher courage. I'm losing 3 might, fair enough, but I'm getting the ability to reroll with a dual and to wounds, which arguably is like getting 3 might points in a lot of cases. I'm getting the Fortify Spirit, which just makes him a lot more difficult to negate than Boromir. Yeah. I'm getting the Horse Lords and the ability to move 12 inches and to move through woodland terrain, which makes him a lot more maneuverable than Boromir. And I'm getting Terror.
Yeah.
Personally, I think all of that is worth 60 points.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the other slight thing I will say is he does have competition in the Rivendell list against Elrond and Gil-galad, who are both very powerful in their own right, and I don't know if that makes them better or worse necessarily, but like you do have to choose. I mean, generally you'd struggle to bring like more than one of them, but maybe you could. Maybe very top of fantastic, I'm going to say.
I think there's an argument to be made that he is more useful for allying with Lothlorien or as a partner to Custard Curdon.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Mayor, where would you put Glorfindel?
I would probably put him somewhere in solid, to be honest.
Wow. Okay. Explain.
I just feel like I don't know. Elf heroes, I find a bit meh, a bit underwhelming. He does have some nice armor. Maybe go fantastic. I'd say fantastic. I've changed my mind.
Wow. We didn't even need to.
Yeah, he didn't need any persuasion. He
just came
to the realization that was the wrong choice.
Would you put him above Gimli?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you put him above King of the Dead?
No.
I would. OT?
I think tippity top of fantastic. He's not legendary.
You were arguing earlier to put him in the middle of fantastic.
Yeah, well, you've persuaded me. Well done.
Yes. Right, should we re-talk about Gandalf the White whilst I've got you in this mood?
No, I'm not fucking moving him. He's
Yeah, I agree. Bottom of fantastic. He deserves to be there.
Triggered.
Where are we putting... I can't remember his name.
Celeborn.
That's it.
Galadriel's husband.
He's fine. He's solid.
He is. He is surprisingly cheap until you start chucking some kit on him, and then he gets a bit more expensive. But I think you can get him full kit for like 140, 150. I will check now, but yeah, he's not bad. Still gets Lord of the West, bit of magic. Yeah. With full kit, he would be 150, and he would be D7, Fight 6, Courage 7, 3. All good stuff.
For 20 points, I could have Glorfindel on Asflash. For
20 points more, yeah.
20 points more.
Yeah.
That's the main reason that I don't like him. But I know that people have used him and done perfectly well with him. But
I think he's okay. But in Lothlorien, I think he'd struggle to be like up there in terms of like. Well, maybe that's not fair, actually. I mean, you got Rumil, Galadriel, Haldir. Yeah, maybe. I reckon maybe top of solid.
I guess Enchanted Blades and Immobilize.
Yeah, the Immobilize could be clutch.
Could be clutch, but I think you've got to be very good to get good use out of him. So I would be inclined to say top of solid, maybe bottom of fantastic.
He does have an improved Standfast as well, and Lord of the West. So he will. Yeah, he does.
Bottom of fantastic is probably more of a reasonable take, but I don't know if I'd go that far.
Haldir. I really like Haldir.
He's good.
I think he's cool.
He's only valid because people complained.
Yeah.
And he got FAQ'd. Yeah, he was fortitude, but because
they complain more.
Because they made the alliance rules, it then meant that you couldn't ally him with Rohan, and everyone was like, oh. But then they brought out the Legendary Legion now anyway, so anyway, yeah, he's good. He's cheap. He's probably around where Theodred and Forlong is and fantastic.
Yeah. Also, he can go like in the Legendary Legion. He can actually get his like banner effects and stuff as well, which is cool. And
what a nerd!
Courage test. Also, expert shot on a 3 might hero is really good because you get 2 chances to just use that might to put a wound on a hero or kill a horse. So yeah, I think he's all right by me.
Yeah. Right, Bard the Bowman. Is this Bard in Survivors or in Lake Town?
I think he might be Valour in both, but I will double check.
Okay. I was expecting to be legendary in one of them. He's good when you bring all of his small children with him.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that says about him. This is Bard in Lake Town. He's legend in Survivors.
Oh, so this is less good Bard.
This is less good Bard. You can still take his kids with him in Lake Town.
Good.
But he doesn't get his cool rule.
Put them on the front line.
Child soldiers.
Okay.
Do you think we needed rules for them?
To be fair, I don't think. I mean, it's similar with like Rosie Cotton, right? You don't. There's no reason for her to be on the battlefield.
At least she's like of age to, consent to fight, though. I mean, like this is just irresponsible parenting. I don't really care about the Hobbit profiles, so just tell me where to put him.
He is flimsy for the points you spend. The max you can get him to is D5.
So he has the Arathorn problem.
He has the Arathorn problem, and he's only fight 5 for 140 points. I think in Lake Town he's not great. I get it in Survivors a lot more.
Average?
I'm gonna say I think average. I think above the Gandalfs.
Right, Master of Lake Town. Stephen Fry. I'm good at the game.
He's only not whiff because it's Stephen Fry.
Do you want me to explain his rules, or do we not care?
Didn't we talk about him in a previous episode?
Yep.
And didn't people complain that we put him too low?
Yeah. In Lake
He's
Town,
fantastic.
I think he might actually be legendary.
Really?
Yeah, depressingly probably is. Well, I mean, they had to nerf the entire army because he was too good with Alfred, so...
He's 50 points, and he's a 12-inch banner and gives +1 fight.
Oh, he's so obnoxious. Why did they make these rules for these just dreadful people?
Who? Games Workshop.
Like, that. No one wants to play this guy. The only reason people bring him is because of his rules.
Yeah.
Like, no one likes him.
Yeah.
And if you are going to comment saying that you like him, I will delete that comment.
He's going in legendary between Strider and Legolas.
I'm putting him the bottom out of protest.
Yeah. Very fucking good.
Thrain.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Should I explain his rules?
No, I think just he's fine.
Okay.
I think that summarizes everything.
Fight
needs to be
6,
said.
strength 4, d8, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 6. He's 3-3-3. Master Forge 2-handed hammer, so effectively gives him burly. He can take Ring of Durin if Thrall's not in the army. He's got strike and defense. He rerolls wounds against Azog, and his standfast affects every dwarf model on the board, not just those within 6 inches, and it affects
Does that
heroes.
include heroes?
Yes, it does include heroes. So you have to pass
So-
1 courage test.
How many points?
120.
So he's just much better Gimli, basically.
Dwarf heroes always sound really attractive until you actually put them on the table.
It
That's
also
because they're in
looks
an army that's so fucking slow.
Exactly.
The problem is in Thrors is that you have to bring Thror, and then it's just you have to pick kind of 1 or maybe 2 of the others to bring in, and it's just a tricky choice. He is killy, he is tough.
I thought
Like-
he was.
Fuck me. I'm gonna say he is the upper end of solid between Haldir and Aomer.
I've not put Haldir in solid. I put him in fantastic. Was I meant to put him in solid?
Okay, put Haldir in solid below Celeborn and put Thrain next to him.
I like Thrain's better than that.
Young
Yeah,
Thorin.
He is exactly the same as old Thorin, exactly the same points level. He's got strike, strength, defense, and challenge. And his special rule is that once per game, he can call 2 arms, where all friendly Erebor Dwarf models get +1 strength within 3 inches.
Isn't he just worse than Thrain, basically?
Yeah, 15 points cheaper, and he loses the burly and the stand fast.
Bottom of solid.
I'm gonna say above Angbor, but yeah, lower end of solid.
Can't remember his name, but he's one of the Dale guys. Prince Bard the third, fourth, second.
What's going on? Oh, this is the. Oh, okay.
OT, you going to tell me what he's actually called, or are you just
I'm
going to
trying to fucking find him in my fucking right. Bard
just
2,
use Tabletop Admiral?
Bard 2, no, because I paid money for the books. So even though Tabletop Admiral is better, I'm going to use the books. Bard 2, Prince of Dale. Fight 5, Strength 4, D7, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, Courage 6. He's 3-2-2. He's got heavy armor, spear, sword, shield. He's got strike, defense, and resolve. And he's got Wall of Blades. If he's charged, he gets +1 to wound when attacking an enemy model that charged this turn.
Average. Let's talk about Girion.
Yeah, he's just quite forgettable, isn't he? I mean, I think if you're taking him in the Legion, he probably gets a bit better. But yeah, maybe top end of average next to Bard.
Girion, your favorite?
Oh, I fucking love Girion. So good.
A little too good, maybe.
No, absolutely not. He is one of the swingiest heroes in the game. 80 points with his bow. He's got accuracy and strike. Fight 5, strength 4, d6, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6, 3-2-1. And he can basically fire, if he hits, he can fire again at a target within 3 inches, can be the same target, and he can do that again. So you can fire up to 3 times, basically, if he hits.
And he has a strength 4 bow. Let's just
strength 4 bow, which is nice. So crossbow, but you can move. Yeah, it's tricky because you can't take him with any other named heroes, which is a bit problematic.
Ally him though.
Ally him with Thrors, and I actually found that to be pretty solid. Like they complement each other really well, and Girion is a big threat.
Can you ally with Thranduil?
No, I think it might be yellow.
Sad times.
I will double check that though.
No, you are right.
Oh, yeah. And you want green alliances with Dale because you want to keep your army bonus, which is really good. I am going to say he sneaks into solid above young Thorin, but I am a bit biased, so I'm willing to be moved on that one a little bit.
No, I'd put him around young Thorin as well.
Cool.
And Mayor clearly at this point doesn't care.
Correct.
Legolas, Prince of Mirkwood. He's 5 points cheaper. He loses the Gimli rule. Otherwise, he's exactly the same, except he can take Orcrist.
And you can take him in the Legendary Legion.
He goes one place above normal Legolas.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. But below Stephen Fry.
Hurin the Tall.
He's
tall.
He's tall. He's got a big old sword. And he is a very good value hero for Minas Tirith.
I think he's probably top of Fantastic.
So with
really?
a horse.
Yeah.
Surely
Do you not know what his rules are?
Obviously not.
Dude's good.
So fight 5, strength 4, d6, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 5, 3/1/1, heavy armor, the Warden's Sword. Warden's Sword is a master forged hand and a half. So he basically gets burly. If he's within 3 inches of Denethor or Aragorn, he gets the Fearless special roll and may reroll a single d6 when making the dual roll, so it gets banner effect. And line of command. If the leader of your army is a Gondor hero, then whilst Hurin the Tall is alive on the battlefield, your opponent can't get VPs for slaying the enemy leader, which I think is a very cool rule, and credit to GW for writing that one. Also has strike.
I think he's really good.
I don't think he's in Fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
I'm going to put him above Fellowship Boromir.
Ooh.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if I put him that high. I think he's around Theodred for me.
But you see him in a lot of good Minas Tirith lists.
Yeah, no, you are right. But that's it's just if you're going to build your Minas Tirith that way, then you're going to build it that way, aren't you? You know,
that was very wise.
What can I say? Put it on a tea towel. It just makes sense to do it.
Over here.
But I don't think that he's. Oh, is he Boromir good?
He's a bit more survivable and he's cheaper.
We're comparing apples and oranges here.
Although he is lower fight. He's worse than Boromir.
But Boromir's a lovely apple. Hurin's a very tall orange.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, he's in that kind of upper Fantastic territory.
Prince Thorin Stone Feet, Helm, Hammer, Shield,
Stone
Shark.
Helm. Yeah, Stone Shark. He's also quite forgettable, like the Dale version, but I think he's a little bit better. Does he have Master of Battle 5?
Do you want me to tell you, or do you want to keep guessing?
I think I've guessed correctly. I think he has Master of Battle 5.
You haven't got shit. He's fight 6, strength 4, d8, 3 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6, 3/3/3. Heavy armor, shield, hand and a half pick. He's got strike, strength, defense. Whenever he declares a heroic action, roll a d6. On a 5+, no might is spent, and the heroic action is free. Additionally, if he declares a heroic action, and an enemy subsequently declares a heroic action, then Thorin may choose to change the type of heroic action he has declared.
So, slightly different Master of Battle.
Yeah, sure. He averages just over 4 might, which is quite nice. There are games you're going to high roll, and you might get 5 or 6 might, which is super nice. He's tough. He's 110 points. He's another good. No, he's higher than that. He's better than young Thorin. I would put him between Arvedui and Faramir.
I don't know if I agree that he's that good.
But he is a tough dwarf hero with 3 might, 3.
All dwarf heroes are tough.
But I think he's better than young Thorin, and I think
He's only 2 wounds.
Yeah, but he has the potential for more might, which I think is something that dwarf armies tend to struggle with a bit.
Well, dwarf like Khazad-dûm struggles. I don't think that the fucking list where you could potentially bring Dane or Thorin struggles, does it?
Well, but I think he's only takeable with Dane Ironfoot, who doesn't get Master of Battle.
Well, just don't fucking take him then. Take the one Master of Battle.
That's the solution. But I don't think you can take Thorin 2 with young Dane. Because
yeah, but you don't need Thorin fucking 4 whatever he is. Just fucking don't leave him at home.
Also, there's the Legendary Legion you can take them in where they get the bonuses.
The bonus in that Legendary Legion is convoluted and shit.
It's okay, just because you
have
don't
to trap your own model.
Just because something's complicated doesn't make it bad.
I know it's quite easy to do, but
it also makes them count as banners.
I don't want to do it.
It also makes them count as banners.
Fine, he can go above Faramir.
Thank you. I put him below Faramir, but whatever.
Literally a second ago, you said to put him above.
No, I said him between Arvadoui and Faramir.
Yeah, that's above Faramir.
No.
Faramir's bottom of solid.
Oh no, but I've got fuck it, we've got different
ours have diverged quite significantly.
Okay.
Accidentally. Grimbeorn, legendary.
Shut up.
Okay. An interesting contribution from Mayor.
He's legendary.
He is legendary. He is above Strider and below Isildur. For me.
And I refuse to explain why. Beorn, he's in exactly the same place because he's exactly the same.
No, he's not. He's different.
Yeah, very minorly.
Yeah. Minorly.
It's like comparing a Granny Smith with a fucking jazz apple.
Okay. You're really fixated on the apples this evening.
Oh, it's like
what is that?
It's like comparing Boba Fett with Din Djarin. They're both wearing a helmet.
Okay.
Okay, where does the massive statistical difference between Beorn and Grimbeorn, where does it move him differently in the list, OT? Please tell me.
He goes below Grimbeorn slightly.
So in exactly the same place. Weird. Balin.
Two. Oh no, that's not true. I was going to say 2 people can't occupy the same space in.
He's Schrodinger's bear.
Yeah.
Balin is average.
He is very.
I put him lower.
Whiff.
No, as in like lower end of average. I'd put him like next to Pippin.
So the bottom.
He's got 1 attack and he's strength 3. Like fucking hell.
And finally, thank God, it's Dwalin. He's good.
I would whack him in legendary.
Wow.
Ooh,
I don't know if he's that good. I think he's fantastic based on what we've put in fantastic.
He's just so killy. It is outrageous. Yeah. Like
we've got fucking 6 might Boromir and Glorfin that are fantastic. Like
true. But I think Dwalin's killier than them.
He's more likely to wound. I don't know if he's killer overall.
Yeah.
He's also a lot easier to kill.
He's also nearly half the points of Glorfindel.
Yeah. Wow. Details. He's also in a much less useful list.
Yeah, it's
unless you're the kind of weirdo who allies fucking dwarves with eagles.
Which is surprisingly good.
Fake news.
I will put him between Boromir and Glorfindel at the top of Fantastic then. But he is so killy.
And there you have it. We did it. We made it. We're at the end of a very long video.
We still got to do news.
We haven't even finished yet. Look at that.
Mayor wants to leave.
Yeah, Mayor wanted to leave 2 hours ago. Let us know why we're wrong in the comments, and we'll move on to news once I've downloaded this video. News. And boy, do we have an item of news. A new Arnor hero. He looks like he is not ridiculously strong.
Do we think this was the news that they promised us all those months ago?
Well, I mean, the slow trickle of Arnor crap is the news they promised us, right?
Ugh.
This is
I just don't feel very
one
excited by it.
item. I mean, he's a mounted Arnor hero, so you're going to take him.
But you can't buy Onod.
Well, you will be able to in a few months, won't
They'll
you?
be
Unless they're
released.
stupid.
Yeah.
So maybe
hopefully.
not then. We know a little bit about his rules, don't we?
Fight 5, he'll be strength 4, D7.
Master of Battle.
Was it on a plus or was it flat? I think it was
Five
on
up.
plus,
So not
yeah.
ridiculous, but
I reckon it'd be
I
like
do think
120 points for the horse.
I do think too many people have Master of Battle.
Yeah.
He's
I
only
think
two.
it's really
He's only 2 attacks, so I think you're actually going to find that he comes in just under 100.
I think with a horse he'll be 105 or 110.
I think he'll be 100 bang on with a horse.
What, 90 points? Fuck. He'll be
He's only 2 attacks and fight 5.
Yeah, but on the charge with a lance, that's 6 wounds with 6 attacks with, strength 4 plus 1. Like, that's very, and like, I think they have to be so careful with Master of Battle because it is just very good. And like, I mean, I guess you're comparing him to the Iron Hills captain, right? Because they're actually a fairly similar stat line. They both have a lance, both fight 5, both Master of Battle 5 plus, strength 4, in that like D7, D8 kind of area.
I tell you what, let's make a wager. I bet you 1 DVD copy of the Book of Boba Fett season 1.
Did they even release it on DVD?
Points. I really hope so. I'll find out for you in a second.
I'll Google it live. DVD Book of Boba Fett.
And whilst AT Googles that, was there any other news? I don't think so. There was a Made to Order that came out. That's been and gone now.
How much do you think the DVD copy of the Book of Boba Fett is?
£40.
30 quid.
It's 20 quid!
Jesus Christ. Does it come with any DVD bonus and extras?
Tamira Morrison comes over and shakes your hand.
And he's only had to do that once. I'll buy it for you.
Okay, cool.
For your birthday.
Right. What other news is there?
I think that might be it.
No, there must be something else.
Book of Boba Fett season 2 started filming.
Yeah. Oh, Rings of Power. We've had a new trailer.
Oh yeah. No, you're right.
Tom Bombadil. I feel bad about that. I've got a lot of concerns.
Yeah. It's going to be bad, isn't it? I did enjoy all the. I can't remember if we talked about this last month, but I did enjoy all the memes about the trailer, though.
Yeah.
Sauron in his wig is just chef's kiss.
But is it Joseph Maul who played Adar and was like one of the best parts of season 1?
Yeah, he's gone.
And I was like, oh shit. And like his reason was really weak as well.
leave?
He was like, I think I've explored the character as much as I can or something. And I was like, fuck. Like,
he left because it was shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm remaining like I'm keeping a naive sense of optimism, but also my expectations are very low. If it's not shit, I'll be pleased.
I think because we're all going in now expecting it to be bad, it'll probably be fine because our expectations are so much lower.
Yeah. As long as it's like more than a 4 out of 10 show. No, if it's a 4 out of 10 or better, I will be okay with that.
What did you rate the season 1 overall?
It started at like a 5 or a 6, I think.
No,
and
it started way higher. If you go back because we fucking were doing weekly pods back then.
Yeah, we were hyped, weren't we?
If you go back and listen to it, we were like ranking them in like 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And to be fair, as you're watching them like as they went along, they weren't all bad episodes of TV. They didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So it all felt pointless by the end.
If I was to give it an overall rating, I'd give it a 4 actually. I'd give season 1 a 4 out of 10. Like it was just boring.
I think it was a 5.
Really? Gosh, that's
Yeah.
unusually generous for you.
It was just bang in the middle.
Yeah.
I preferred elements of it to the Desolation of Smaug and Battle of Five Armies.
Yeah, but those are two of the worst pieces of media ever put to film.
That's not true. But Book of Boba Fett exists. Our favourite TV show of all time. It's the only TV show I've ever watched, actually.
Would you rather watch
Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett or
Book of Boba Fett.
Or the normal version, the entire season of Book of Boba Fett, or the normal and extended versions of Battle of Five Armies and Desolation of Smaug?
Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
Like, without hesitation. I'd actually probably enjoy watching Book of Boba Fett.
What, for the memes?
Again. A little bit.
Yeah. I just love watching people get out of Bacta tanks.
I liked the Sand People bit. The only bit I didn't like was the fucking stupid mopeds.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the most dumb. I hate it when things in like Star Wars are like I don't want a fucking Vespa appearing in Star Wars and then being like, oh, it's a space Vespa because it has 2 million mirrors, so I can see all of the aliens behind me. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. I'm not sure anybody's actually said that.
Well, there you go. Hot takes from me. Good. That was an episode. Quite a long one, actually. I think that might be the longest podcast we've ever done.
It's because you talked about Strider throughout. Well, no, to be fair, there's a lot getting cut at the beginning, right? Where you just
no, that's all staying in.
maybe move it to the end for the retention.
I might cut the bit about cannons.
Yeah.
No, that was the best bit of the podcast.
It was the most factually engaging.
It was the bit that was true.
Yeah. It was the only bit that
why do people listen to us?
Taught people anything. Should we do an outro or should we just end it?
Join us next time where we will do. Onod might not be here. No, we'll be here. Ooh.
I will just be here.
Just about be here in body and spirit. We'll be doing the closer to this, which is Here is a Legend.
Here is a Legend. Are we combining evil and good now again?
Yeah, may as well. I think there's a sufficient number to merit it.
Hooray. Yep, so we'll be finishing off this epic saga. And then we'll be able to talk about Book of Boba Fett full time. We won't have to dilute it with
these annoying distractions that keep getting in the way. Yeah.
And who knows, maybe they'll have announced season 2 of Book of Boba Fett is filming by then. We can only hope. Fingers crossed. Would you rather them make season 2 of Book of Boba Fett or Rings of Power season 3?
Oh, what a question.
Like, at this point, which one would you prefer to watch?
Rings of Power.
If I could guarantee that Book of Boba Fett season 2 is as good as the mediocre Mandalorian episodes,
still Rings of Power.
But Rings of Power, I could not guarantee quality at all.
Still Rings of Power. The thing is with Rings of Power is I want them to have the opportunity to save it. Like, they've done this to themselves, and I don't have much sympathy. But there is still potential for it not to be shit, and the only reason I'm sticking with it is because that might happen.
You don't want the opportunity to save Book of Boba Fett.
No, the world will not.
Is that because?
To be honest, I think the world would not change at all if Book of Boba Fett season 2 came out, or if it didn't. I think it would have. There's effect, no butterfly effect. Like, it would just
the world doesn't change at all if Rings of Power comes out either. To be fair,
I mean, it would change a little bit more because people get angrier about it, right? Whereas like Book of Boba Fett just kind of was so meh, it just flew under. Whereas like
what I'm hearing is that Book of Boba Fett was so perfect that you couldn't think of any way.
Yeah, there was no point commenting on it. There was nothing to be said.
Yeah, it was just perfect media.
Yeah. You may not like it, but this is peak television.
Well, that was an episode of the podcast. You've been enjoyed.
You've been enjoyed, listener. We have enjoyed you.
We've been joined by Back to Tank Mare,
Goodbye, everyone.
number 1 Pyke OT.
What?
Is that not
You should
what
be
the-
number 1 Pyke.
Is that not what the fish people are called?
That is what they're called, but that's not how I. Yeah. Bye.
And me, Daimyo Onod.
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 Oh
That's
no.
Oh no. That's my Book of Boba Fett name. Space Onod. Onod. The Bounty Hunter.
Well, that's a good closing line.
Are you going to
That's
make a
big
jingle for this?
Book of Onod. Book of OT.
Yeah. And nobody
Chapter
would read
1.
these books. Nobody's read these books, would they? Like,
They're not readable. They're just an episode. It's just we're pretentious, so we're gonna